So it seems like things might not be getting any better for Sinder. Now, if you don't know, Sinder has been involved in a lot of drama and, there's been a lot of stuff going on over the past couple of weeks. And, well, it seems like things aren't getting any better. And I think a lot of people have kind of opened up to the idea of her coming back. And some people have kind of, taken a step back from the situation, looked at it and seen that maybe, a lot of the stuff that they have done wasn't so bad. But at the same time, I feel like a lot of what Sinder has done already and that we've seen in the evidence is still pretty terrible. And honestly, I don't think she should be making a return. But her return might be a little bit harder due to some other things going on in the space, with one of them being from our culture, which obviously we looked at in a previous video whenever I talked about some people actually burning their products for Sinder. Now, as I said, I don't really care what you do with your Sinder products. If you want to burn them, then sure. But honestly, I don't think it's a good way of doing it. Obviously, our culture here actually says, hey, what if you go and donate it to someone that actually needs it? Which I think is a much better way to go about it if you don't want to keep hold of your Sinder merch. But also, if you want to keep a hold of it, just remember the times. I honestly think that's okay. I feel like a lot of people forget that, you can kind of keep things like just to remember what happened and, the kind of time that you had before any of this stuff happened, any of this drama happened. And some people, obviously still support Sinder and aren't going to throw away their merch because they still support her. Now, obviously, yeah, our culture, I didn't actually realize at the time whenever we're covering it was actually, a brand, making like merch and stuff for, a lot of VTubers. And obviously Sinder was one of these, and they were chucking away the last stock with some of it. So again, it seems like a lot of these companies that she has collaborated with are starting to kind of part ways with her. Now, not all of them, obviously, I think this is like a couple cases of them. But there's also this update which actually came out the other day, literally yesterday, from Novel News, or Novel Horizon, sorry, pretty much talking about their products, which obviously are figures. We got 2 Sinder figures here, and obviously they said, they go through a lot of that, usual news, everything like that. And then they've got one section called Sinder Project Demon Sinder. Now, they say we have received many requests for this project asking for pre-order cancellations. Under normal circumstances, most of these requests would be outside of our cancellation period / cooldown period. But given the gravity of the situation presented, we've lifted the time limitation to an extent, meaning that while we can't refund some certain orders due to the afterpay / PayPal limitations on their end, something that we cannot control in any way, we're offering customers a fully functional non-expiring gift card for the Horizons merch store instead. For those unfamiliar with the store, this is where our non-pre-order items end up, such as small merchandise and access figure stocks during our super sales. The gift card provided will equal the amount of the order, and the original order will be cancelled upon accepting it. Other alternatives outside of a gift card include transferring the order over to another project, although this option requires further discussion since it's not something that our system natively supports. They say for full cashback refunds who are not interested in alternative options, refunds will be looked into on a case-by-case basis with no guarantee. Since unfortunately most of our refund policy comes from the payment processors and limitations / terms more so than our own. Finally, our customer service for a time will be drastically slowed down due to the inquiry amount which crashed our system twice over the course of the event. So we appreciate everyone's patience as we work our way through this. We currently do not have a defined amount of time of expected wait for customer support inquiries to be responded to. So yeah, it seems like the whole Sinder stuff that went on actually managed to crash their system twice on the supports because people wanted to cancel their order. Now, I honestly think, yeah, if you wanted to cancel your pre-order or whatever, I think that's totally fine. But obviously, as they say, it might be out of the cooldown period or the kind of, time that you can actually, cancel your pre-order. And it's great to see that this company is actually going ahead and saying, hey, you can actually cancel this or find a alternative solution so that you don't have to get a figure like this, because obviously a lot of people won't want to, have it after a lot of this stuff has gone down. And I honestly think that is okay. And I honestly think that is a good move from Novel Horizons here to pretty much, allow people to change it to something else that maybe they would want a little bit more. And yeah, that's pretty much, something that they have announced. And I think that it's pretty interesting. Obviously, it means that, obviously they haven't cancelled any kind of collaborations or anything with her. They're just saying that, hey, we've seen the situation and that you can cancel it at any time, which honestly, I think that's great. And I think that it's not looking good for Sinder. Let's just say that. Because although, the collaboration has been cancelled, they haven't said anything about cancelling collaborations. it could prove pretty bad for them when looking at some of the sales and how many people are canceling them. This company might not no longer want to work with her due to the fact of some of this stuff. But hey, we'll have to wait and see if there is any kind of news on that. And then finally, we also got this one thing which I thought was kind of weird. This is from Candle. Now, if you don't know Candle, they make a ton of candles based on situations like that are going on in the VTuber community, and I don't think they're very much liked. I feel like a lot of people weren't very happy with them and what they've done. Obviously, as you can see here, they got some like collaborations, and yeah, they've just released a candle about this situation called "It's Just Business." Now, if you don't remember, it was a very important quote in the whole Sinder document saying it's just business in response to a lot of the stuff that was going on, which I think, yeah, it's kind of bad. Like, I mean, I get, you know, it's funny to say it's just business and stuff like that, and it's a great joke to kind of, you know, throw around in the community, but making a whole candle and body mist over this, let's be real, that's just cringe. And I'm gonna be real, the actual, like, kind of branding of this isn't great either. It's not very polished at all. It looks like something that I made in, like, Microsoft Word. And yeah, it seems like the community aren't very happy with this either, you know, despite all of the stuff that, you know, Sinder has done and how mad people are at her. People are probably a little bit more mad at this. Obviously, got 1.5 thousand likes. I don't really care about the drama, but if this actually is bonfire centered, then I might get it. They said it is in fact actually bonfire centered. They say, I'll be honest, this comes up as really icky since the candle isn't supporting the victims at all, just trying to profit off it, which I do think, yeah, it's a little bit weird. They obviously say this comes off is extremely distasteful and ignorant. Profiting off of someone's suffering is not it, and I hope that it gets taken down. Please do better. I get it, but this just ain't it. Do better. I don't know, y'all. This feels a bit iffy. It would be pretty funny if it was a joke post, but the fact that this is an actual product and you're selling it is kind of rubbing me the wrong way. And I think that is the main kind of issue that people have, you know? If they made this as like a joke, like a Photoshop thing, being like, haha, a new candle, you know, scent, which, you know, definitely isn't coming out, I think people would have been like, okay, yeah, that's pretty funny, okay? But like they've actually made this and they've actually decided to like kind of advertise this and tried to bring it out to the public, which obviously is just like, come on, bro. You're just trying to profit off this. And I think that it's just kind of weird to be profiting off it so directly, you know. And obviously they say, question, will the profits go to a charity for bullying? Because profiteering of something where people have to go to therapy for a long term and community-wide feelings of emotional devastation / distrust would be in bad taste, even if it's a slight to the aggressor. And I don't really know how many people are going to be getting therapy and stuff. Obviously, as I said in my previous video, I know that, you know, a lot of the VTubers that were affected directly by her, I could see getting therapy because it is pretty hard for them to like come to terms that their friend has been going behind their back all this time. But in terms of like the fans and everything like that, I don't think they really need therapy unless like they were that involved. But even then, maybe you do need therapy if that is the case. You got so affected by it in that way. Obviously they say, I'm really happy y'all goes to me when it came to making a candle. This is horrible. Profiting off a situation where people were genuinely hurt. That's foul. No, this was wrong. So you can see, literally everyone was against this. There's also a community note that was rated. It said the recent furry VTuber drama hinted at in the post in reference to the recent drama, which again just gives people more kind of context behind it. But yeah, I thought that was kind of iffy. And obviously, yeah, as I said, overall, it seems like a lot of these companies are kind of stepping back on some of their orders. Holy flashbang. Are kind of stepping back on some of these orders and kind of changing up what they're doing, which I think is fine. You know, I feel like a lot of these companies are, you know, entitled to do what they want to do. And I think that at the end of the day, you know, it's their own decision to kind of part ways with her. But I do have another video coming out in a little bit, kind of talking about another situation going on, which could actually have a knock-on effect from the Sinder stuff that is going on. But you'll have to go and watch that in a couple of hours time whenever it does come out. But yeah, if you guys did enjoy this video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. Also go to GameStop, use my code KESSA, get 10% off. Again, I got this really nice shirt, which again, you guys can go and get. I don't think it's out anymore, but they do have similar shirts to this, which you guys can go and get. So again, 10% off. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. That's all.